Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
1, 1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here, then we might as well shine together. Better now than never, business before pleasure. P. Diddy and the fam, who you know do it better. Yeah, right, no matter what.
Welcome into the Bob Sullivan Show here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. I'm joined here by Mikel Severe from the Bottom Line on World Herald Live. Michael, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. And now on 590
Yeah.
zone or 590 AM in Omaha. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Big move to 10 a.m. now.
Yep.
10 a.m. to 2. So
Do 10 to 2, and then the noon to 2 hours are on AM 590 ESPN Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, with Nebraska, big news is they're in the top 10.
Yeah.
The strange thing is people aren't buying it, which is different around here. When Nebraska gets into the top 10, it's like, well, we are good. We're Nebraska. We should be in the top 10. A little different feeling this year.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the last few times this has happened, and Nebraska got in there. They've had their hearts broken. 2011, Nebraska's playing good football. They upset Michigan State after Michigan State had 3 amazing weeks beating their rivals. They come in, Nebraska wins 24-3. Then they're going to play Northwestern at home, 17-point favorite. They get beaten by Northwestern. And then we know other years where Nebraska started off quickly and not played well down the stretch. And so Nebraska fans have gone from when I got here in 2002 to being overconfident to now being extremely pessimistic, in my opinion.
It's almost like Cubs fans to a certain degree.
Yeah, but Cubs fans got 108 years or whatever. Nebraska was the winningest team in the 70s, the winningest teams in the 80s, one of the winningest teams in the 90s. They won all these titles. They've got all these players. But their confidence level is more like a team who hasn't won since 1908.
Yeah, it's amazing what is it now? 17 years without a conference title will do to it.
2000. So 1999, which was a year that I think at the end of the year when I saw them play in the Fiesta Bowl, my wife and I, girlfriend at the time, were there, and that team was as good as any team that whole year. So you were the most dominant team in 1999. You turn around 2001 and get kind of a gift to go to the national championship game. You get beat pretty badly by Colorado first and then Miami. From there, I don't know if there was a point where Nebraska fans felt comfortable about where they were in their position in college football. Some will always feel the same way. They think Nebraska is the best program. But I think there's a lot of them right now that just don't feel comfortable in the position.
The next 4 weeks, a lot of the prediction is 2-2, or the best case scenario everybody's hoping for is 2-2. I kind of feel like they're going to split the Ohio State-Wisconsin games.
I mean, beating Ohio State.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, but you know what? You watched the Indiana game last week, and Indiana had the ball. Devine Redding, one of their best players, has the ball heading to the 5-yard line with a chance to be down 7 with about 12 minutes left. What else could you ask for as Indiana? Now, he fumbles. And then Ohio State turns around and goes back the other way, and they throw another pick, and ends up being a score where you go, oh, they got beat by 21. Right. Well, no, they had a chance. So if Indiana can do that, why can't Nebraska? It's a night game. It's a little bit different. The emotion's different. Ohio State will be a little more pumped up for it. But why not?
Yeah.
They got to get past Indiana first. But I think they beat Wisconsin. I know they beat Purdue. I'm pretty confident about them beating Indiana. I think they're better than Indiana at almost every position they play.
It is strange. I was looking at the lines, trying to decide whether to bet that game.
Yeah.
The Indiana game started opened at 8, down to 3.5. I don't know if they're trying to tempt everybody to go towards Indiana, or if
the 4 is where it should be. It should be at 4. Okay, that's where all the numbers, everything I've looked at, all the analytical sites that do this, it should be at 4. It never should have opened at 8, 7.5. I remember earlier that day I was talking to a friend on Twitter, and I'm like, 3 is where I think it'll be. 4 is perfect, is where it should be. I think Nebraska wins by 7. So I feel that where they open the line roughly is where the final score will be.
The pessimism of the Husker fans will be, okay, they've avoided the hiccup with Northwestern.
Yep.
That was assumed. Okay, well they're playing well. Okay, they're going to drop the one to Northwestern. All right. They struggled with Illinois a little bit early on. There's no way, I can't see them losing to Purdue.
Right.
This would
Again.
this would be the one.
Right.
Even though Indiana is a better team than they have been in years
Right.
past,
Yeah.
I feel like this is not a letdown game. Even though it, I think it is
Right.
a spot for
This
a
is-
letdown, but I don't think it's going to happen.
This is still a team that lost to Central Florida, or went overtime with Central Florida. This is still a team that played close against Ball State. This is still a team that, yes, they beat Michigan State, but at the same time, Michigan State didn't play well at all. Yeah. I just look at this team, and I understand Nebraska's concerns, and I understand the coaches worried about some up-tempo stuff. They're worried about their skill players, but Nebraska's skill players are very good on the defensive side too. The secondary is so much better this year than it was last year. You tell me they're going to play Indiana last year, I understand the concern. This year, Chris Jones has been a lockdown corner. He's going to be that. I think they've been better in the slot than they were last year, whether it's an Aaron Williams in there or Kyron Williams comes down or they move Josh Kalu over. However they're doing it, right now they're playing better in the secondary. I think they'll be able to do that against Indiana. My concern is Divine Redding having a huge day, or one of the other backs having a huge day when they get to the outside and Nebraska loses contain because they're concentrating so much on the pass defense. But other than that, I think Nebraska wins this game.
On to Major League Baseball. Are you on Twitter? Are you trying to jinx the Cubs? Is that what you're?
What is the? No, I'm 47 going on 80. I don't think I got much time left on this planet. I like seeing history. I'm not a New England Patriots fan, but I cheered for them to win that Super Bowl because I wanted to see history. I want to see something that no one alive has seen. I want to see that. I want to see the Cubs. I want to see what happens to the city of Chicago. And I want to see them win it.
Do you? With what happened last night, I mean, that was so well. Kugler was, having his classic Twitter.
Sure, that's what he does. Yeah,
about the Cubs. Oh, the season's over.
Yep.
And then the ninth inning happens. That was the most anti-Cubs playoff thing I've ever seen before. And I mean,
I knew it was coming.
How can you not bet against this team at this point?
I knew it was coming. We're downstairs, my wife and I, and I'm like, I got to just start going to bed. I'm tired already, so I'm going to go upstairs. And normally, when we get upstairs, she does the TV thing. She watches whatever she's going to watch. And I said, just leave it on the Cubs. I might fall asleep, but I got a feeling they're going to come back. Just leave it there. So I like having to be able to hear it. And I mean, like 10 minutes later, she shakes me and goes, he got a base hit. He got a base hit. I'm like, who? Zobrist? Like, I knew. I mean, because Zobrist beat the hell out of, the Royals beat the hell out of the Mets last year. I goes, is Zobrist? She goes, yeah, it's Zobrist. And then, watch the end of it. I just had a feeling. This team has been, and I know this is used too often, but a team of destiny since day one. Day one, they've been a team of destiny, this season, I mean. And I think they won it all.
I was thinking last night, people I was watching with, I was saying how, okay, if they lose that game, they lose in game five, Posey hits a go-ahead home run in the first inning. That crowd just goes flat, and I think they end up losing that game.
It could be, yeah.
I've seen that story. I saw that story in 07 and 08 with but different team. But I think the tides start to change on Joe Maddon. I mean, he's this lovable guy. He got the race to the World Series. He hasn't won a World Series yet, but everybody loves all his kind of shenanigans throughout the year.
Played David Ross yesterday for no reason.
And I feel like everybody would start to turn on him, like his personality, be like, you can't win with a manager like that.
Oh,
if
I don't
they
know.
lose this,
if they would have lost that series, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. They're still young, though. That's just it. I mean, anything you want to say about them, at the end of that conversation, is that they're set up for the next 3 or 4 years, not just this year. So I don't think they would turn on him. The overall fan base would have completely fallen apart and lost their mind if they lost this opening thing to the Giants again, that kind of Giants team,
Yeah. Looking at with David Ortiz now retiring, and the question, obviously the steroids is going to come up, but Hall of Fame wise, the other conversation is, well, does a DH belong in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
And the question is then, well, if a guy pitches his entire career in the AL and never hits, isn't that kind of the same thing? He didn't pick up a bat, so he didn't play. He was bailed out and didn't have to hit.
I mean, maybe, but nobody's ever that's been a Hall of Fame pitcher has ever said, have they ever said while he's getting in, oh, by the way, he hit well?
Yeah, no.
I mean, I like Steve Carlton growing up. I loved left-handers doing anything, but loved him, and he was a pretty solid hitter. But, still, nobody ever talked about that. Edgar Martinez belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
David Ortiz belongs in the Hall of Fame. Period. They're too good at that one particular thing that everybody tells us is the hardest thing to do in sports. Mm-hmm. So why not let them in the Hall of Fame?
Well, and if somebody, guys that are great defensive players that weren't great offensive players will make it. Well, I mean,
Ozzie Smith.
Well, in basketball, Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
If there's a guy that's a great hitter, Sammy Sosa's not going to make it. But,
Yeah.
if the suspicions and, Piazza.
Right.
Piazza's in the Hall of Fame. And
he
he
should be. Look, man, it was
purely offense. Though.
He was the guy, and he got better throwing as his career went on. But as a Mets fan, he's one of the most clutch players that I've ever seen come through as a Met. On his clutchness alone.
Yeah.
But then the fact that he hit with power the way he did. And, dude, he was a huge dude when he came in the league.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was a little scrawny kid and all of a sudden put all his muscle on. He was a big dude as the 49th round pick. Mm-hmm. He belonged in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the dirty hair flying out of
everything.
with the Dodgers.
Yep.
Looking at the, playoffs in general, if the Cubs don't make it to the World Series with the the ratings just going to continue to plummet until the Cubs finally get to the World Series in baseball.
Baseball is one of those sports where I don't think you concentrate on the ratings as much because being in the park is so different. Being in the park at a baseball game is, I think, as exciting as any, especially when it comes to playoff. I'll watch stuff on TV, football, basketball, whatever else, and don't think about being in the park. I think ratings is more important there. For baseball, they're going to get their number. The fact that the place is sold out, the place that's got a lot of energy is good enough. I don't think that that's something that's a worry. The NFL's worried about their numbers. Yeah. I don't think that Major League Baseball's worried about their TV numbers.
And how worried do you think the NFL should be about their numbers?
I think they're screwing things up. I really do. I think they're screwing things up.
You don't think it's just an election year?
No, I think the election year is a part of it. Mm-hmm. I believe the fact that there are some people out there who don't want to watch because they don't want to hear politics mixed with their football from the kneeling and stuff. I think that's a part of it. A big part of it, the play's bad. Yeah. The offensive line play is horrible right now, along with your national televised games haven't been good. Plus, all the penalties they call, worrying about whether or not guys are having fun and celebrating. All of that turns people off, in my opinion.
I can't get over with the NFL where, you said at the end of your show today, Mark Cuban was calling it. Everybody laughed at him a couple of years ago, but the numbers are going down. The political thing, I don't know. It's strange to me that would affect it so much. With Kaepernick's jersey numbers have gone up. Yeah. Since
those aren't people the people that are buying his jersey. So there's three different populations in this country. Okay, mm-hmm. You got the old-fashioned person in this country who's probably over 50 years old. Some of the men were in the military. A lot of the men were in the military. Mm-hmm. You've got that. They're buying stuff. They are shoppers. They are consumers. Then you have the group that's in the middle, where I put myself, right? I can go both ways with that. I understand it. I was in the military. I salute. Same time, I understand as an African-American that there are things you deal with that most people don't understand. Right. And then there's the millennials, and they are cutting the cords. They are streaming things. Yeah, they'll go buy a jersey because they feel, I love his idea. I'm going to support him because there are a lot of followers. Not to be mean to the millennials, but they follow a lot. Yeah. And so that's the group that's doing that. But they aren't the folks watching TV. Mm-hmm. They're not. They're the people trying to steal your cable or going to a sports bar to watch it. They're not watching it at home.
Right.
I think.
Or just watching vines of plays or something.
However they're doing it, they're consuming it without actually having cable or satellite.
Yeah. And do you think football in general, it's going to continue to get worse with how little, kids are not playing anymore.
It's going down. It's not going down, though, in Texas, in Louisiana, and Florida, and a lot of places where football is everything. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, the overall play level for young people is going down. Numbers going up for soccer. I wonder if it's going to be cyclical, though. I wonder if it rallies in 5 years when we know more about concussions, if more kids start playing again. I don't know.
Do you think what do you think is going to happen first? Expansion in the NFL to some Mexico City or London or something like that, or do you think we're going to head towards 1 week where they play, the whole preseason is out of the country? I think they should play the preseason out of the country instead of playing these regular season games.
I don't think they'll ever play the preseason games outside of a place like Mexico City. I could see them doing that. I don't think they'll play a non-official game in London or in a place like Wembley. I don't think they would do that. They're kind of getting what they want. Small percentage growth of popularity of the sport overseas in Europe. They've gotten that, and I think that's working. And so they're going to continue to do the way they are. I think the next thing that happens, though, in a decade, we're going to have a team that plays in London, an NFL team.
Don't they need? Like, are there football camps going on in Europe? Because
they're doing them in Europe. They're doing them in Japan. They're doing them in Australia. There's been another number of coaches who, when they get out of college or finish playing and want to go into coaching, one of their first jobs is to go overseas and work to help people overseas better understand the game. So, yeah, that's happening. The German area, very popular with football. They're doing a very good job. Matter of fact, the German youth team a few years ago beat the American team because of their football and how it's grown there. But I just think that the goal of a guy like Goodell or the NFL in general is to eventually have a team that plays over there full time.
It's a little scary hearing about German youth. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you want them trained.
Yeah. Couple more things before we get out of here. Looking at college football, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, who's the best team? Who do you think is a lock for the college football playoff? Do you think there are any locks?
Well, I think Alabama and Ohio State are the two best teams that I've seen. I want to see more of Michigan's offense if they're trailing and they need to get some points. I think their defense is amazing, and Jabril Peppers does things. It's literally like he has jets on his shoes sometimes, the way he runs. Other than that, I like Clemson. I know they can be beaten, but I like Clemson. Those are probably my four teams right now that I think have played the best. Louisville with Lamar Jackson is the most exciting team that I've watched in a long time. And even though they lost to Clemson, I still think if they get another shot at somebody, I think they can beat them. Outside of that, I think you have a big middle. You have a small top, big old middle, and then a lot of bad teams.
So, yeah, I think I feel like somebody stupid's going to sneak in.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I mean, I thought Houston, they would have had a shot at Louisville. They would have earned their right by beating two top 5 teams.
Yep.
But I don't know. I feel like
Washington's maybe the other one. I mean, Washington is very complete. They've got a quarterback that is accurate and can run. They've got a defensive front. They can get pressure with 4. They've got an offensive line that is dominant. I mean, Jake Browning doesn't get touched at all. I never see anybody around him. Maybe that. They have the skill players. They have a good running back. Maybe that's the team. If they can get through the Pac-12 with one, I think they have one loss and they win the Pac-12 championship, they get in because I think they played a good enough schedule.
Tennessee, potentially. I know.
Yeah, I think they lose again this week or they lose next week. I don't think that.
If they can beat Bama this week and then get a shot against, or maybe Texas A&M.
Yeah, well, A&M, they play Bama next week. So maybe they have a shot. I think Bama's too good right now, but again, going on the road to Tennessee, maybe there's a shot.
Last question: LSU firing Les Miles, and then this week having the game rained out against
Florida,
hurricaned out against Florida. What do you want Ed Orgeron down there at LSU? Do you think he should get another shot at a head coaching job, or should they? Do you think they're going to try to go for something a little out of their ballpark?
I like Orgeron. He was a defensive line coach with the Saints back when I was covering him. I like him. I don't know if he is a big-time head football coach. I think he motivates very well. I think he can get a team over a short period to play very well. I said in the summer they'll fire Les Miles before the season's over, and they're going to hire Lane Kiffin. I'm sticking with that.
Oh, wow.
I'm sticking with that. That was my prediction back in the summer.
That would be interesting with Kiffin facing off against Saban.
It's an offensive thing, and they feel they need to get offense, and he's an offensive-minded guy. And people say, well, he failed at Tennessee. No, he didn't. He did not fail at Tennessee. He turned the team around. He turned the team around, who was a losing team and made them a winning team, and then left for what he thought was a dream job with USC. That did not work out, but he did not fail. And he didn't fail with the Raiders either. He had a owner who was incredibly crazy. Yeah. So I think that he, at this age, get another chance. I think he could do a good job.
And he never had anybody in his career up until he took the job. Like, Alabama was the best thing he could have done.
Definitely. Changed his career around. Yep.
And he's never had somebody to be like, no, Lane, you can't do that. Or to humiliate him, really. You never saw that with, I guess you had it with Al Davis, but everybody just chalked it up to this guy's a nut
Being
job.
crazy, yeah. No, I think Nick Saban and the reclamation project that is Lane Kiffin, he's going to get another shot, and I think the job's going to be at LSU.
Well, Michael, before I let you go, I want to tell everybody where we can find you on Twitter, internet's your show, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's Mikel Severe, Mikel Severe, Severe. Omaha World Herald. You can always go to omaha.com to find the show. You can stream it there. Omaha.com/bottom line. And then again, we're on in Fremont live. We're on Nebraska City live. And we're on in Omaha from noon to 2 on AM 590.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
I appreciate you letting me sub that one day, too.
Hey, good. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yep, so, all righty.
Praying.